Convocation. O holy God, instill in us grateful hearts for the people, both seen and unseen, who make the dream of college possible. Teachers and educators, families and mentors, those who have invested in these students as they embark on the journey that has been a long time in the making. We give thanks for those visionaries who created Hendrix College to be a place that educates the whole person through the free exchange of ideas, inspiring awe at the wonder of existence, and opening one's heart and mind to address the challenges of our time. For our new students, we pray that this week meets the long-awaited hopes of college life. Give them courage to try new things and clarity of heart and mind as they make decisions. For families and friends, we pray that this time might provide the space to say goodbye, to give those sage words of advice, and to be the anchor as these students navigate the terrain of adulthood. For faculty and staff, we pray that we continue to be the support that students and their families need during this time of transition. May we be attentive as we listen and understand and as we offer guidance. For the Hendrix community, we pray that we are open to the gifts and energy that the class of 2023 will bring to us. May we embody the values and the tradition that is Hendrix. As we face academic rigor, we celebrate our diversity, and we glean wisdom from each other. In all of these things, we pray that the sustaining spirit of peace be our guide as we begin this journey together. Amen. Please be seated.
Hello, class of 2023 and all of your supporters. My name is Max Parker. I'm a junior here at Hendrix, and I will be your Student Senate President for the next year. I'm excited to welcome everyone, new students and supporters alike, into our community today. Being one of 4 Alabamians, a lot of people have asked me why I came to this school with its brick buildings and sidewalks. They want to know how someone from so far away came to be part of a community of mostly Arkansans and Texans. I always think to myself that if they think Birmingham is far away, they should talk to my friend Charlie, who's from New Jersey and stereotypically the biggest Bruce Springsteen fan I know. Either way, neither of us were ready for the Arkansas swamp that we found, or own a good pair of rain boots. So if you're like us and don't own any rain boots, now is a good time to invest. But when you're in this exciting community, some of the details of how you got here begin to gloss over. So to answer that question, I had a standardized elevator pitch for maximum efficiency. Here's how it goes. I love the academics, I love the athletics and swim program, I love the extracurriculars, I love the social life, and a little bit more than love the scholarships. It was an all-in type of academic community that I fell in love with. That's why I'm here. But one of the things they don't tell you when you run for Senate President is that you become a member of the Board of Trustees during your term. They also definitely don't tell you that you have to give a speech at New Student Convocation. So for one of you sitting in this auditorium today, you'll be in my spot in a few years giving this same speech to the class of 2025 or 2026. So work on those public speaking skills. All that aside, being in that board setting, the same question about why I came to Hendrix popped up time and time again from curious board members as we walked around campus past the red brick buildings where I'd learned so much. Later, as I sat in the meeting, looking at tuition charts, my mind began to wander, and I began to truly reflect on why I was in the situation I was in. Why was I here at this school in Arkansas, sitting in a boardroom, wearing a suit, and representing my student community to distinguish alumni and donors in the decision-making process that would affect my peers and myself. It took me back to a conversation I had with my dad when I began looking at colleges, one that you're probably not too far removed from. It was my sophomore year of high school. My grandmother had passed recently, and as we were going through her belongings, we found my grandfather's old wallet. In it, it had his favorite newspaper clipping. The newspaper clipping said something along these lines, where they talked about how the Pentagon had announced its support for state-level legislation in which education benefits would be passed on to the dependents of GIs in some states, Alabama included. While this decision was announced 40-some-odd years before I was even born, it started a chain reaction of events that would be the biggest blessings of opportunity in my life. You see, my dad grew up in a rural coal mining town just outside of Birmingham, and he always thought he was lucky because he had the option to work in the steel mill rather than in the coal mines, and he would get to graduate high school before entering the blue-collar workforce, unlike his parents. But since his dad, my grandfather, was a GI serving in Vietnam and Korea, and because of this extension to the GI Bill, my dad would get to go on and become a part of an academic community of his own. He would get a cushy accounting job behind a desk after he worked hard to earn a degree. He would get to move to a neighborhood in a phenomenal public school district to raise kids, and he spent his weekends coaching Little League. And I will say, I'm not a baseball player, but I do enjoy the sport. Now, I was thinking about going to his alma mater, a big public university in my home state of Alabama, known for its football program. Roll Tide. But going to Tuscaloosa to major in frat life with a minor in tailgating was not the path for me. In that conversation, my dad made the switch from reminiscing about the past to dreaming for the future. He said he always wanted me to relentlessly pursue opportunity in a community that was intellectually stimulating and emotionally caring. And don't get me wrong, the U of A, both in Fayetteville and in Tuscaloosa, are still great schools. But hearing those words made me realize that there's absolutely no time to waste when I have been given so many precious opportunities. Opportunities that not everyone had. Based on the color of my skin, the GI Bill was unequally yet favorably applied to my family. We can't rest until we as a community are free from discrimination and a community where every member is equally free to pursue opportunity. All of the privileges leading me to Hendrix have given me a powerful thing, a place that fuels my passion to help create a community based on equal opportunity across the board. So now I ask you, take a moment and reflect on the community of supporters who guided you, who helped you, who made sacrifices so that you could be an individual relentlessly pursuing opportunity and a member of the Hendrix College class of 2023. Let's take a moment. All right, I want to ask y'all to do one more thing. Pull out your phones. All right, if you've got a calendar app, that's what you're looking for. Go to September 10th. You're going to be creating an event. So for that event, I want you to reach out to your community of supporters who helped get you where you are today. Send them a text, give them a call, or even shout them out on your Snapchat story, whatever Gen Z is doing now these days. Why? Because the 3 weeks coming ahead will fly by for y'all. It's college. You're going to have a great time. But for the people in the bleachers here, they'll be missing you like crazy each and every day. Don't be like me and wait until it's the week before fall break to get in contact with these people. So, okay, here I am now. I'm a junior, and I'm beginning the second half of my Hendrix experience. I've declared a major, I've developed relationships with faculty and staff, and I've grown in ways I could have never expected. It's a little bit unreal how quickly my time here has gone by. I've had close friends in the class of 2018 and 2019 graduate, and they've gone on now to pursue their passions outside of Hendrix. But I've also made friends in the class of 2022, and can't wait to meet y'all as part of our little Hendrix community. Like my time here at Hendrix, hopefully the rest of the speech will fly by, as I know you'll have about a million things to do on movement day and orientation. It's a really hectic time, I know, because I helped plan all of it. So, yeah, it's going to be busy for me too. So here's my one little metaphor / quote hybrid that every convocation speaker seems obligated to provide. In 2005, Steve Jobs said, "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick, but you have to get back up, never losing faith in what you're doing." Now, I know you're pretty observant, or else you probably wouldn't be here at Hendrix, but in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot of brick on this campus, both literal and metaphorical. There's the metaphorical bricks that will reveal themselves to you over the next 4 years as you get your degree, and there's also the literal bricks making up the sidewalks and the buildings. So here's brick number 1, if you so choose. Learning the choreography for Shirt Tails. In my time as a Martin man, they really whipped us into shape, but it was worth it because we killed it out in the brick pit, and it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of friends. Brick number 2, taking a chance and deciding how to get engaged on campus beyond the classroom and the sports field. Brick number 3, this is probably the hardest one for me. Having the courage to go to office hours for help when you've been staring at a blank screen for the last 3 hours trying to read a paper. I know it'll happen eventually, and it's nothing to fret over, because ultimately your community of professors over there, they're here to push you, but they're also really here to support you. So use them to the best of your ability. These are just a few bricks you might encounter in the next month. The road is long and hard, but for us at Hendrix, it's made of brick. We stare down a challenge with fire in our eyes, and we use the bricks and intellectual challenges hurled at us by the world, and also sometimes sometimes the professors, to pave exciting and innovative new paths for others to follow. We don't become bogged down by the binary black and white thinking, but embrace the gray of complexity and the orangish red hues of all this brick. Welcome, class of 2023, to the college that is bringing brick back in style. Next, I'd like to introduce you to someone in the community who's hardworking and an invaluable asset to students. I've known her as Dean Bawa for the last 2 years. However, I'm really excited to work with her in her new role as Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion. Please welcome Ms. Keisha Bawa.
Thank you, Max. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, so whenever I have a chance to speak to new college students, I always give them the same advice. It actually was Max's number 2, the break number 2, right? Get involved on campus. And as a person who works with diversity and inclusion on campus, I'm sure that none of you will be surprised that I want to encourage you to get involved with our diversity initiatives. I often tell students that while you're in college, that's one of the few times in life where you'll have a chance to sit down at a lunch table. The person in front of you may be from a different country, the person on this side may be of a different race, the person on this side of a different religion, but yet you're all here working towards the same purpose, which is what? To get that degree in 4 years, right? And also you actually want to get to know each other. I feel that learning about life experiences of others is a key element of your education. Writers, artists, and musicians often express themselves through the lens of their lived experiences. The more you understand about their backgrounds, the deeper the meaning of their work that you're able to understand. Many scientists study the things that interest them and that impact them personally. This is often also a reflection of their backgrounds. Some of you may already be interested in culture, and you may be choosing a major that reflects that, or maybe you want to minor in social justice. But just know, even if that's not your primary academic focus, then there are plenty of classes here, a whole range of classes available to help you learn more about this world that we share. There are also opportunities outside of the classroom to get to know others around you. We have about 15 different multicultural student organizations, for example. They include Asian Cultures Club, Students with Black Culture, the Organization for Latino Expression, Disability Awareness Club, and International Club. We also have Unity, which is our LGBTQ+ student organization, as well as Trans and Hendrix. One of the things I always like to brag about for our multicultural student organizations is that you don't have to be a member of any particular group in order to really be able to experience that multicultural organization. So for example, if you go to a typical Friends in India meeting, then you definitely will have students there of Indian heritage, but then you also will have students who are just interested in learning more about Indian culture. There are also really great collaborations that occur within our groups. Hillel, which is our Jewish student organization, and our Muslim Student Association work together on at least a couple of different events a year. And then those two organizations, in addition to a couple of our other religious organizations, work really well with our chaplain's office to create some amazing interfaith initiatives. You know, in the diversity world, we say that you can't really share cultures without sharing food. And so there are always some wonderful food events going on. If you want to learn how to dance, if you want to learn martial arts, maybe you want to be able to practice or learn Spanish or French or Arabic or Korean, or maybe you just want to have a conversation about gender differences. In other words, if you want to learn more about others here, then you will have that space and that opportunity. Now, while you're learning about and from others, don't forget that your story is also important, a really important piece of the puzzle. After all, diversity includes everyone. Inclusion is also a concept that we all have to work hard to achieve. It's not enough to have a community of people from a variety of backgrounds here living and learning together. We have to do what we can to ensure that every member feels welcome and included. Now, families, when I say that diversity and inclusion includes everyone, you also are included in that, right? You make a difference when you encourage your students to learn more about cultures, whether that's encouraging them to study abroad or just to join a student organization. Some of you may have students who are a little bit more reluctant to step outside of their comfort zones. So everything that you can do to encourage that will be greatly appreciated and will help them as well. You also have the ability to invite your student's roommate or neighbor to your home, or to even just have a meal when you come visit campus. Asking about the roommate when you call and talk to your student, or text, your student. Say, hey, how are they doing? How are you getting along? Those kind of things go a long way towards developing life-term and lifelong friendships. Now, I've seen often, time and time again, where you bring one child to campus on freshman move-in day, and then 4 years later, you're taking pictures of all these bonus children that you've added, right, on graduation day. Now, before I end, I want to say a quick word about cultural competence. Cultural competence is a term that refers to a person's ability to work or interact effectively in an environment with people from diverse backgrounds. More than ever, employers are recognizing this as a valuable trait and qualification for employees. So besides the great experiences you have learning about others, you'll also be preparing yourself for life after Hendrix. So, if you enjoy our food events a little bit too much and gain your freshman 15 plus a couple others, just look at it as a necessary sacrifice you had to make to learn more about culture, right? Want to go to Cancun for spring break? Tell your parents that I said it's an investment in your future because you get to learn about their culture, right? Sorry, parents, it's culture. So finally, I want to invite you to visit our website. If you go to the Hendrix website, /diversity, you'll find it there. It includes more information about our diversity initiatives, including our First Gen program, which is for students who neither one of their parents have graduated from a four-year college and have that four-year degree. We provide mentoring with faculty and staff, and it's a really great program. And so if you haven't already contacted us about that, I encourage you to do that. You'll also find our college's statement on diversity here. When you read that statement, you'll see that we view diversity broadly. It includes race and gender, religion, and disability, but it also includes things like political philosophies and age and socioeconomic status. I'll be at the Campus Connections Fair immediately following this, and so I hope to meet many of you who I haven't already had a chance to meet there. Now I would like to introduce to you Dr. Lindsay Kennedy. She is a psychology professor and has been doing a great job leading our campus wellness initiatives. And she was recently named the director of well-being. So I'll turn you to the hands of Dr. Kennedy.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to the Hendrix community. President Tsutsui asked me to prepare some remarks for you today as part of my new role as the Director of Wellbeing. Over the past 2 years, I've been working with folks from all across campus, faculty, staff, students, and some alums, to start a conversation about the real mental health and well-being challenges that are facing college students all over the country, and what we can do in the Hendrix community to actively address those challenges. Over the past 2 years, we've trained, I think it's close to 240 now, students, faculty, and staff in mental health first aid. We've established the Hendrix Wellbeing Coalition, which is a group of students who are planning and organizing well-being programming on campus. And along with our resident sleep expert and marshal, Dr. Jennifer Pesca, we did a semester-long intervention to help students improve their sleep. And we'll probably do it again, so keep an eye out for that. We have a lot more to do, and we have some exciting new initiatives lined up for the next few years, and it's my sincere hope that you will be a part of those efforts. When I was thinking about what I wanted to say to you today, I did what I so often do, and I turned to my students for advice. I tried to get them to write the whole speech, but we had a conversation. They all worked with me over the summer, 3 of them, all rising juniors. We worked on things like planning some new well-being programming and working on building a new website about well-being for our webpage. All of these students know a lot about well-being, but perhaps more importantly, they remembered pretty vividly what it felt like to sit in the seats that you're sitting in right now. We had a conversation about this, and what really rose to the top for them is that they felt sweaty, but overwhelmed and pretty exhausted. And just that conversation, just sharing with each other how overwhelmed and exhausted they felt, seemed to really lift a weight off of their shoulders, realizing that they weren't alone in that feeling. And so we spent the better part of a morning really talking about what it felt like to be a first-year student. And from that conversation, they had 2 main messages that they wanted me to share with you. The first is that if you are feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and, okay, sweaty, you are not alone. It's really easy to think that everybody else around you has it all figured out. They know what to do and where to go and when, and they feel like they're on top of it. The truth is, other people are probably looking at you thinking the exact same thing, right? And in reality, I don't think, I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I doubt there's anyone in this room who really feels like they have it all figured out. We're all works in progress, even though it might not always appear that way from the outside. So you're not alone in feeling overwhelmed. The other thing that they wanted me to say is you're going to be engaging in a lot of icebreaker activities over the course of this week, and probably next week as well. And you might feel like you need to leave these first few weeks at Hendrix with a new routine that you're comfortable in and a fully formed new friend group. And that's fine if you do, but it's totally normal if you don't. Starting college is a really big transition, and it's supposed to be. But finding those real, meaningful friendships can take time. They're here for you, but they can take time to find and forge. So the end of orientation might not be the end of your adjustment period, and that's okay. And if I can add just 1 point of my own, I tried to add 15, but Terry wouldn't let me. If I could add 1 point of my own, it's that we all need help sometimes. And you are going to need help with something at some point, probably multiple points in time. And so are the people sitting around you. And what I really hope is that you allow yourselves to ask for the help that you need and, importantly, accept the help that you need. And I know that's not easy. It's something that I struggle with every day, truly. But I try to remind myself that allowing myself to be helped is really a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. And in any of those moments where you feel like you need help and you're questioning whether or not to reach out for help, I just want you to remember how good it feels when you have the opportunity to help someone else. Okay? During your time at Hendrix, we're going to be working really hard to try to transform our campus into a well-being campus. And I really hope, again, that you'll be part of those efforts. I want to emphasize not just self-care, but community care, how we can take care of each other. And that means I need you to be part of that. So, to our first year students, our incoming class, I hope that you'll weigh in on the kind of well-being programming that you'd like to see and that you would benefit from. And starting today, I hope that you will actively contribute to the campus culture you would like to see around well-being. And to everyone here who's supporting our incoming class, and I don't know where the camera is, but to those of you who are live streaming it on Facebook, you too, I hope you will weigh in on how we can support you as you support this incoming class of bright young scholars. We want you to be in the best position possible to support them as they face these new and exciting challenges that await them. And if you're ready to take me up on that invitation, I'm going to go to the Campus Connections Fair after this event, and I would love it if you would come by and introduce yourself, truly. I'm really happy that you're here, and welcome to Hendrix. And now I get to introduce one of my very favorite people on this campus. Lee Lassiter-Counts is our amazing Director of Career Services and is also the only person who has ever or will ever convince me to go to a jazzercise class. She is a fantastic jazzercise instructor. Just file that away in case you need it later. She is also a Hendrix alumna, and she embodies everything it means to be Hendrix. So it really is a pleasure to welcome Lee, and please join me in welcoming her.
Thanks for that introduction, Dr. Kennedy. One day, I hope you all are as lucky as I have been to be surrounded by genuine and dedicated colleagues in whatever career you choose. Speaking of career, you have been at Hendrix approximately 5 hours. You haven't even had your first class yet, much less declared your major, and here I stand as a member of the Career Services team to talk to you. What? Is anybody else scratching their noggin on that one? But before I get to that, let me add my welcome, but with a little bit of extra gusto as a Hendrix alumna. You're about to join a mind-blowing group of people who do amazing things in the world, and that's not an overstatement, really they do. And the Office of Career Services from day one is here to help you. We can help you connect with these alumni who might have a career that you're interested in exploring and learning more about. We can help you think about the kind of person you want to be in the world and the kind of problems that you want to solve through your work. We are so much more than a resume review, and I hope you will visit soon, and I hope you will come back often to learn yourself how we help our students. If nothing else, I know I will see you all 512 days from now at Career Term, which is a winter break program for all sophomores to gain professional and personal skills to help your success after Hendrix. That's January 13th, 2021, in case you'd like to put it in your calendar, or look forward to it. So I hope you can tell by the fact that I'm standing here today and asked to visit with you the weight that Hendrix puts on preparing you for a meaningful life. The time you have at Hendrix for the next 4 years will be transformational. As you've heard from those before me, you will learn more, you will grow more, you will become more than you ever imagined you could be. And how is that going to happen? How will you become more? Through every little bit of your time at Hendrix. You will gain experience and understandings that can help you in future career paths ahead of you. Our entire campus yesterday spent the day learning about an idea called career competencies, these skills and talents that you will build throughout your time here, not just in classes, but in your work with athletic teams or music ensembles, participating in student organizations like Dean Bowman talked about, studying together, yes, even attending parties together. All of these competencies wrapped up together in you will provide you with the greatest rewards you could earn. But wait, let's stop for a second. This reminds me, did any of you ever read those books, those Choose Your Own Adventure books when you were a kid, right? So you'd read a few pages and then based on a prompt, you'd have to make a decision, right? And then the book would change course based on your action. I loved those books as a kid. One book could turn into 25 books depending on how you answered. Okay, back to my speech now. So all of these competencies wrapped up together in you will provide you with the greatest rewards you could earn. So now we'll choose our own adventures, right? What am I talking about? Am I talking about earning a bachelor's degree? Am I talking about earning a good salary in your first job? Earning a PhD or a medical degree or another big degree? No. Here's what the competencies you build throughout your time at Hendrix will earn you. A life. A meaningful life, written out in the statement of purpose on the back of your program if you haven't seen it, right? And I quote, a life of accomplishment, integrity, service, and joy. How you interact with Hendrix and the competencies that you grow and gain is all up to you. How much you let this community transform you into more is also up to you. The job market is ever changing. The jobs you'll get after graduation might not even exist right now. But what you learn at Hendrix transforms you and gives you the competencies to go out and face your life beyond Hendrix with confidence and with skill. So learn from each experience, grow, change, go ahead, transform. I dare you not to. Hendrix is not in the business of transactions where you go to class, you get a grade, you get a degree, you get a job. No. Hendrix is transformational. And through your time here, you will transform. And you will not just be prepared to get a job. You will be ready and you will be poised to get a life. I would like to introduce our provost to you, Dr. Terry Fong. She joined the college in 2014 and holds degrees, several of them, from the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. But I thought you might like to know her most recent degree that was earned over the summer from the Harley-Davidson Riding Academy. And you will have to ask her when you see her on campus and find out for yourself if her Harley-Davidson is Hendrix orange or not. Dr. Bone.
We'll do a little spoiler. Yes, the motorcycle is orange. So, just so you know. As Lee just said, my name is Terry Fong. I'm the provost for the college. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Leslie Zorwick, the winner of the Exemplary Teaching Award for 2018-2019, given by the college and the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry of the Methodist Church, who will welcome you as the incoming class of 2023 on behalf of the faculty. Dr. Zorwick has a bachelor's degree in psychology and philosophy from Emory University and a master's degree and a PhD from psychology from the Ohio State University. She joined our faculty in 2007. She is currently the Margaret Mary Hutton Odyssey Professor of Psychology, and she also serves as the chair of the psychology department. Dr. Zorwick chaired the campus community on diversity and dialogue for 3 years, served on the campus advisory board for education and the prevention of sexual assault, and has served as an elected faculty representative on 2 different committees. She teaches courses about social psychology with a particular focus on stereotyping, prejudice reduction, identity, and belonging. Her teaching goes beyond the classroom in her research with students on prejudice reduction strategies and the development of empathy, her research on the social benefits of debate and advocacy training, her work with Dr. Williamson in religious studies that teaches students to use contextual Bible study to facilitate conversations about racial justice, and her work on community development related to a National Science Foundation STEM Scholars Grant. She has also served as an expert witness in 2 federal discrimination trials, speaking about the benefits of diverse and inclusive educational settings. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Zorwick to the podium.
Dr. Boatwright, thank you for the kind introduction and for the opportunity to speak to our new students and their loved ones. Welcome to Hendrix, y'all. I'm so happy to be part of your introduction to this campus that I love so very much. I'm lucky to work at a college where my teaching brings me into contact with amazing, thoughtful colleagues and creative, inquisitive, and bright students. I realize you're probably feeling excited about starting your journey, but right now you're probably also feeling nervous about being in a new place and meeting new people and a lot tired after moving this morning. So I thought I'd tell you a couple stories about my kids and not make you think too hard. I have 2 daughters, Melly, who is 6, and Josie, who is 2. My students will tell you I always seem to find some way to work my family into my courses, although in my defense, I think my students would also say, when I talk about my family, it's related to the topic at hand. I think I give examples about my family because what I like best about being a parent is what I like best about being a teacher. I love teaching people new things. Josie, my 2-year-old, is in the early stages of talking, and her favorite thing to say right now is, "What's that?" We hear that like 600 times a day. I love watching the amazement on her face when I tell her what something is, and she remembers it later because she is so proud of herself. This summer, she learned the word flower, asking about my in-law's shower curtain. And when she pointed to some flowers in our house and said, "Flower?" and I said, "Yes," her face lit up with an amount of joy I can barely understand. She was so excited. My 6-year-old Melly is in the early stages of reading, and her favorite questions are, what does that say, and what does that mean? When Melly learns new things, it is the best part of her day, and she always wants to make sure that people she loves know about the neat things that she likes. This summer, she had Fruit Loops cereal for the first time, and she is a big fan. When she saw a friend she hadn't seen in a while, she actually walked up to him and blurted out, "Do you know about Fruit Loops?" Because to Melly, the best thing we can do when we learn about something awesome is share it with other people. I mention this because watching my daughters revel in how much they love learning, watching their awe at how many new things there are to learn is a beautiful thing. Their curiosity and their fascination with almost everything they see gives me a fresh perspective to see things I've seen so many times before. I found myself feeling awe and wonder almost daily as I see things through their eyes. I mean, Fruit Loops are kind of amazing. My daughter makes me remember what it was like to be in love with learning new things as a kid. So when I thought about what I wanted to say to you, I thought about what it was like for me when I got to college. And one of the things I struggled with most when I started college was that all of my classmates seemed so smart, and it was a little bit intimidating. In my high school, I was a really strong student. I was used to feeling smart, and I didn't magically become less smart the day I showed up at college. But I looked at all these amazing people around me who had different experiences, who knew things I didn't know, and I found it intimidating. I looked at my classmates and I thought, I know so much that I don't know. It made me nervous and stressed out. I now know, as a psychologist, this is called Impostor Syndrome, and it's really, really common. To be honest, I experienced it when I started college, but also when I started graduate school, and also when I started working at Hendrix. Feeling like we're an imposter who's pretending to be smart when everyone else is really smart is common, but it can make our setbacks feel overwhelming. It can make us doubt ourselves. And feeling like intellectual imposters makes it nearly impossible for us to experience the transcendent joy I see in my kids when they learn new things. So if I could go back and talk to myself on the first day of college, I would tell college first year Leslie Zorwick, it's fine that other people know stuff you don't know, and it will be one of the greatest gifts of your life. Think about it. If other people know so much you don't know, you can literally learn forever. You have limitless opportunities to grow as a person. Every single one of my colleagues can teach me so much, from the content of their courses or the work their office does, from the ways they think about campus issues to their experiences navigating the world. If I want to, I get to learn and grow in literally every interaction I ever have with other people. Every class I've ever taught has involved me learning an extraordinary amount from my students, from the connections they make, to the examples they use in class discussions, to the creativity with which they approach research, to the films and books they recommend I add to future classes. I've come to see our ability to learn from others as one of the greatest gifts of social life, because we get to introduce people to the ideas that have shaped us, and we get to learn from people whose experiences are different from ours. This ability to take on the perspectives of other people can broaden the way we understand challenges and the way we identify solutions. There's a good deal of research in social psychology that finds that having a diversity of opinions, backgrounds, experiences, and skills leads to way more creative and better problem solving, because we can learn so much from each other. This means that creating a space of truly inclusive community where everyone feels valued, celebrating the diversity on our campus, is one of the best things we can do for the betterment of us all. I encourage you to see your time here as a chance to take advantage of the fact there's so much that you don't know, because you will have so many opportunities to learn from professors, from staff members, from your classmates, your roommates, your teammates, even members of the Conway community. So when you feel like an intellectual imposter, you feel out of place, you're feeling like other people know so much that you don't know, try to give yourself permission to take a risk and learn something new, because that risk-taking is the very heart of what college can offer to you. You get to spend the next 4 years learning course content, but also learning about the world from people who know so much you don't know. And this learning will allow you to think about the kind of person you want to be in the world, for yourself, as a participant in relationships, and who you want to be in your career. So there's a song my kids like from the movie Smallfoot, because my whole life right now is watching animated musicals. And there's a line in the song that I like. It goes, "A life that's full of wonder is a wonderful life." I have found this to be true. What I love most about teaching are the wonder I get to watch as students encounter ideas that have been so important to me, and the wonder I feel at learning from others in our community. Today we celebrate all of you as the newest members of our community, because you know so much that we don't know. And you will make our community stronger in the next 4 years as we learn from each other. Thank you. Before I step away, I'd like to introduce someone who really needs no introduction, our resident Godzilla expert and the president of Hendrix College, Bill Sutsui. One of the things that I like about our college is I've gotten to interact with our president in lots of different ways. From his visit a few years ago to my statistics class as he was trying to learn about the experience of students, to working with him to bring speakers for his presidential lecture series on sexual assault, education, and prevention, to enjoying his starring role in a student film for our Red Brick Film Festival about his love story with Godzilla. I highly recommend you Google it, it's very funny. To our joint participation in the MLK 50th Anniversary Commemoration Campus events. Please join me in welcoming Bill Sutsui.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome. I am thrilled and honored to be here this afternoon and to join my colleagues in welcoming you to college and particularly to Hendrix. As you've already heard this afternoon, the faculty and staff are excited to have you here, and the students are eager to embrace you as members of our community. Your parents and guardians, too, even if they shed some tears today, are proud to see you moving into the dorms and beginning a fresh chapter in life, with a new sense of independence and a great adventure ahead, in a place that will challenge you, prepare you for life and career, and support you, stirring your curiosity and feeding your spirit. Your younger brothers and sisters have probably been unable to hide how ecstatic they are that you are finally out of the house and out of their hair. But honestly, no one is happier to have you at Hendrix than Tad the cat. Tad, if you have not met him yet, is an appropriately orange tabby who lives here on campus and who spends most of his time lounging around in front of DW Reynolds. Tad is not physically very imposing, and his one folded ear, presumably the result of a cat fight long ago, makes him look perpetually bemused and a bit vulnerable. But don't be taken in by his appearance. Tad is a truly formidable personality. Tad loves people and insists that people love him in return. If you walk by without giving him a tickle, he will cast a withering glance in your direction. If there is a class outside in the pecan court, Tad will sit in, yawning occasionally if the pedagogy or the amount of cat tickling does not meet his standards. This summer has been a trying one for Tad. Without students on campus, the pathways in front of DW have been quiet. The dozens of guys working every day on the Miller Creative Quad have been too busy with construction to have any time for cats. So Tad has spent much of the summer break lying despondently by Fawcett Hall, the administration building, where there is year-round activity, but alas, still not enough foot traffic to keep a needy orange tabby adequately satisfied with rubs and scratches and cuddles. Tad has been waiting for months for you all to finally show up. So before y'all get wrapped up in making new friends and signing up for clubs and classes and adjusting to college life, take a minute to visit with an affectionate little cat that could not be more delighted to have you all here at Hendrix. Now, one of the great things about Tad is that while he may give you unconditional love, he will not offer you any unsolicited advice. As you will all soon realize if you haven't already, and as evidenced by the talks here this afternoon, one of the unavoidable things about starting college is that people will always be giving you, whether you want it or not, the benefit of their wisdom and guidance. Professors, parents, grandparents, friends, coaches, advisors, heck, even people on the street will be telling you what to do and what not to do during a time that almost all of them will describe as the 4 most important years of your life. You might as well get used to it, and you might as well start getting even more used to it right now, because I'm going to share with you my 2 cents worth about how to make the most out of your time at Hendrix. First, embrace the wealth of learning opportunities you have on this campus. Luxuriate in the liberal arts and allow them to stretch your mind and your horizons. Don't pick classes just because they start late in the morning or don't meet on Fridays. And don't just load up on classes that check a lot of boxes in the curriculum. Sign up for a class or 2 out of curiosity, or whim, or sheer ignorance. If you are a budding physicist who doesn't know a trochee from a simile, take poetry. If you're an aspiring poet who can't quite differentiate a proton from a photon, take physics. The courses I remember most vividly from my undergraduate years are ones far removed from my major and from general education requirements. Classes I took just because they sounded interesting and I knew little of the subject matter. Art history, architecture, financial accounting. I continue to regret not finding time in my schedule for philosophy or psychology or computer science. And while you are at it, sampling at the intellectual smorgasbord that is the liberal arts, be sure and learn a world language. It doesn't matter too much which language you choose, since we Americans are in such desperate need of linguistic and cultural competency. The stereotype of the ugly American who can only speak English and accept one red, white, and blue way of doing things needs to end with your generation. So learn a world language and learn it well, and if it is a modern language, well enough to talk with a native speaker or to easily read books, newspapers, and online media in that language. Whole new worlds will be opened up to you. And of course, go abroad. A study abroad trip or overseas internship might be best, but don't turn down any chance to travel internationally. And don't choose a country to visit just because the weather's good. Guys actually look like in Speedos there, and they have drinking age regulations. Second, let me encourage you strongly to spend some time, optimally every day, but more realistically every week, just sitting and thinking. Unplugged. Take out those earbuds, power off that tablet, set aside that smartphone, disconnect yourself from everything with a little I or a little E in front of it. We live in a time of constant stimulation and pervasive, invasive data. A surfeit of tweets and posts and blogs and texts and scrollers and tickers and face apps and TikToks that have brought us all to a state that the New York Times once described as information obesity. So just as you want to avoid the freshman 15 around your waist, you want to avoid overindulging on all the cognitive static that hits you every day in college. Unplug to reflect and contemplate. To focus, if only briefly, on matters that you feel are important. To cut through the trivia and the distractions to look for real meaning in your education and your life. Third, don't let yourself become too content or slip into complacency. Of course, I want you to be happy, even joyful over the coming years here, but I also want you to keep testing yourselves, your assumptions and your limits. Challenge yourselves in the classes you take. Push yourself out of your comfort zone in the conversations that you join and the friends that you make and the experiences you have. Don't wall yourself off in the pretty leafy campus we have here at Hendrix, seemingly so far away from the acrimony sweeping our country at a time of unusual tension and uncertainty and division in our society. Acknowledge and engage with those difficult issues of race and gender, region and class, identity and origin, religious belief and political ideology that continue to divide and confound us as a nation and a world. Ask hard questions of yourself and of others, and don't be satisfied with easy answers. Listen to others, not simply out of courtesy or obligation, but in order to truly understand. Fourth, be part of something bigger than yourselves. Whether it is a team or a cause or a campaign or a protest or a congregation or whatever, throw yourself into an endeavor where you are working for the shared good of others, where your success is less important than the success of the whole, where the collective achievement is the goal and your own personal commitment is the means. With a community like the one we have at Hendrix, and as individuals of your caliber and accomplishments, we should strive as often as possible to be leaders and active participants, not simply spectators. Even though it is easy most of the time to stay on the sidelines and to go with the flow and let others take on responsibility, do not be content to let college life just wash over you. Step up. Throw yourself into something you can believe in and join hands with others to make a difference. This is a lesson that I didn't learn until quite late in life and is one of my real regrets about college. Fifth, take some time every once in a while to thank your parents, guardians, and other family members for all that they have done for you. I can assure you they are not as embarrassing or annoying as you think they are. And they honestly care about you more than you will ever know, at least until you have your own children. Don't just text asking for money, or call up to break the bad news about the stats exam, or turn up at the house with laundry for mom and a car that needs an oil change for dad. The occasional few words of sincere gratitude are among the best gifts you can give your family. Right up there with staying out of prison and achieving financial independence after graduation, both of which incidentally you should plan on as well. Sixth, and yes, finally, I want you to be very sensitive to learning where you least expect it, when you least expect it, and what you least expect ever to be useful to you. Be prepared to learn more than you ever thought possible from your new roommates, from standing in line at the cafeteria, from falling off the rock climbing wall, from navigating the complicated hierarchies and procedures of a college and its curriculum, from living in communities like Hendrix and Conway and Arkansas. Learn from a computer crash that actually does eat your term paper, from losing your ID and car keys for the third time, from your yoga instructor or an extremely talkative Uber driver, from friends of very different backgrounds and beliefs, from a reading at Murphy House or a service at Green Chapel, a Miller Center service trip, or an internship through Odyssey. I know I look forward to learning a lot from all of you and to sharing with you the next 4 years on this beautiful campus with this wonderful community of teachers and learners. Welcome again, and thank you so much.
Good afternoon. professor in the music department, and I have the pleasure of leading you through the Alma Mater that we sing at Hendrix at convocations and commencements every year. Rather than just parading through the song once and then being done with it, we actually will take the opportunity to teach you the song. Parents, families, you're all welcome to join. Faculty, colleagues, friends, please sing as well. I'm sure some of you need to practice. On the back of your program, you'll see the text. Please take that out. We're going to learn this by rote. I'll sing one phrase at a time. We have some students from the Hendrix Wind Ensemble who will be playing along with us. After I sing one phrase, you'll join me in singing it back. And then after we've learned it all, we will put it together and sing it once through. So for starters, why don't you sit up at the front end of your chair, nice and tall. Lengthen that backbone a little bit. You'll be in better shape for singing, I assure you. And we'll get a starting chord from our friends over here. This means stop, this means go. Okay, so I'll start here. Hendrix College, we will love thee through the years to come. Ready? Here we go. Hendrix College, we will love thee through the years to come. Not bad. Here's the next phrase. Very, very similar. As we love thee now today, while our hearts are young. Everybody? Ready? And as we love thee now today, while our hearts are young. Because I'm sure half of you have already started to slouch in your seats. Sit up again, because we're going to go even higher here. I'll sing the next little bit. It goes like this. Kindly is thy spirit always, friendship and good cheer. Ready, set, and go. Kindly is thy spirit always, friendship and good cheer. Like the beginning. Make the Hendrix College to us Alma Mater dear. Almost got it? Ready, and go. Make the Hendrix College to us Alma Mater dear. Bravo. I will mention before we sing this once through that at the Campus Connections Fair, I will be there along with my friends from the music department, and if you want to audition for choir or come and talk to me about lessons and classes and all that good stuff, come and see me a little bit. Will you please stand? Everyone, please. You sound like $1 million. We're going to have a brief introduction before we sing, and then I'll lead you in singing. After we're done with this, please remain standing. Hendrix College, we will love thee through the years to come. As we love thee now today, while our hearts are young. Kindly is thy spirit always, friendship and good cheer. Make the Hendrix College to us Alma Mater dear. And look, you've already thrown yourself into something new. Give yourself a round of applause. Please remain standing. Thank you very much.
Following the benediction, we invite families to be seated while students, faculty, and the platform party recess. Once the recessional has completed, please meet your students over in the Student Life and Technology Center, the SLTC. And we encourage you to visit the Campus Connections Fair. A lot of folks will be here that are on the stage, and some of the faculty will be there as well. And we want you to come by and get a cookie and some lemonade in my office, the Religious Life Suite, also located in SLGC. And now, may we rise to the questions that our work puts to us and the sacred brings before us. May we guide each other in the building of community as we respond to the sums of the world with compassion and with wisdom. May we emerge as the best of our hopes and our convictions in learning where we are and who we are, and relying on the constancy of God's peace. Amen.